those weaning them out of those with the records of substance abuse and crime, and also, living the life of a gangbanger. They're recruiting a lot. They're seeing like Crips, Bloods, 18th Street, yo, 13th Street. What? Raise the roof. Represent. The actual emblems and the gang signs. They're ending up on the battlefield in Iraq. That's right. Oh no, it's the Al Qaeda. But they're hurting our Marines. You want to support the troops? Bring them back. A lot of you out there, some of you are suffering from PTSD. I know there are Marines that watch my show. This show is for you to help you wake up and heal from what happened to you. And the best way to heal from what happened to you is to learn about why they sent you out there and why they used you and why they poisoned you and why they just set you up in Iraq to set checkpoints up for years. It's just training for what's going to happen to America here. Research Top Off 4. Research those plans for martial law over the city that you're living in right now. Research plans for forced vaccinations if some alleged pandemic comes about. You're going to see more fear-mongering in the winter. Ask yourself why they're doing this to us. Ask yourself why they gave you so many shots when you were in the service, why you got sick so many times. Go into your doctor, but the official doctor of the medical, pharmaceutical, industrial complex just says take more drugs. And then, of course, we have the Michigan oil spill. It's all just an accident. And what are they using the police for? Graphic number 32. We just now have documentation evidence of a full-on SWAT raid in Los Angeles from the LA Times. Raw food raid highlights a hunger. You see the guys coming in there looking for raw milk. There's actually a few people I know that buy and sell raw milk in Portland. Runs about $6. I only had a glass of it one time. It's great stuff. Good enzymes. Nothing dead there. Not radiated. If you're going to drink milk, it might as well be raw. But of course, the FDA, they're God, and they get to dictate what we eat, what we put in our body, because we're not intelligent to make decisions enough for ourselves. Or are we? Are you going to put up with it? Are you just going to allow them to dictate what goes in your child's body, what goes in your wife's body, what goes in your husband's body? You know you care about that guy. Drinking that can of Coca-Cola, drinking that Budweiser, drinking that Pabst Blue Ribbon. You care about him. That's why you should tell him and try to incrementally bring him over to the light. You know, Matt, you care about her. All those Marlboro Red she's smoking, all that whiskey, all that GMO food, and people wonder why sometimes they get heavy. It's not about putting people down. It's a matter of understanding we biologically in this country look different than the Europeans for a reason. We have a different grade of food. It's not to be insulting. It's meant to be educational and empowering, because a lot of this comes back down to what's in the food, what's in the air, what's in the water. And that's not some nutbag, wacko conspiracy theory. It's Your World Today, USA Today. Read it, the black and white. By the way, I got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/AlexAnsary. You can watch the show again and pass it on to your friends and your neighbors. The point of saying that is, all these headlines that I mentioned tonight, I'm going to copy and paste in the show description. So you can go and not even necessarily watch the show again. Copy and paste these reports so you can read about them in further detail for yourself. As economy sinks, demand for social services soars. 23-22. And, of course, there's no surprise there. We have about 40 million Americans on food stamps now. Unemployment's at about 22%. This is the quiet before the storm. And things are counting down to the next big pull of the stock market. So graphic number 22-23. And we see more dependence on the state. And what do people do when they're in that situation? Well, they go get jobs for the Census Bureau, where they get paid taxpayer dollars to obtain inventory on the cattle. And they're told by their superiors, you're allowed to walk on the property, but constitutionally they can't. They're being lied to about their own job. And so their employers are actually putting the Census Bureau's lives in jeopardy. People are being put in a sick situation. Man, woman, fight one another. Black, white, fight one another. Census Bureau worker and guy that just wants to be left alone. Fight one another over the circumstances that we're in, over the cage that we're in. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. Rant time. Message for City Hall. You have a decision to make. You have a lot of very important decisions to make. Federal stimulus funds, they're gone. They're gone. They don't exist anymore. You have to independently figure out how you're going to have to create jobs, how you're going to create jobs and real services, real value, real wealth, real commodities, real true credits, an alternative independent bartering system. This is something that the financial division of the City Hall ought to be looking at, amongst, of course, all the Homeland Security things that are going on. And also, please put away this mentality of Alex thinks he's better than me because I have a lot of perspectives that might be a lot different than yours. This is all I can do to peacefully get the word out without engaging in a full-on violent act of aggression, act of insanity. I mean, we got to be smarter than the table. We got to be smarter than the gun. We got to be smarter than the door out of this fire, out of this house that's now on fire. We got to be smarter, more intelligent than our circumstances. We don't have to be a victim of our circumstances or play into whatever card of life we're dealt with. We can break the codes of the matrix if we're willing to think outside the box. There's so many different examples of thinking outside the herd, thinking outside the box. I'm in traffic on MLK. It's backed up all the way from Burnside to the Lloyd Center District. Construction. They do this every year in July. Why should we be surprised? And everybody looks so upset and they're angry and they're honking at one another. And I'm like, I'm on MLK in Clackamas, about a block from where that guy was killed on 6th and Clackamas. I'm like, I'm just going to go around all of you sheeple. I take a right, go down 2 blocks, actually just 1 block, and go down only in about 5 blocks to the block past Broadway, closer to Tillamook Street, and I take a left and I'm back on MLK, and everybody's still, I'm not brilliant. It's not my ego. It's just obvious that we need to look at an easy way out of this cage. And I see a lot of people running with their peers en masse over a hill, and I'm going, please don't run over the hill. Don't kill yourself. Don't drug yourself. Don't jump in the meat grinder just because you think you need to feed your kids and you don't know of any other way to feed your kids other than join the military or do something else that degrades your moral standard without getting into specifics. A lot of men in this world and women are taking jobs that really, in my opinion, are dehumanizing them in their true divine masculine feminine nature. The whole goal of the New World Order is to warp our true, beautiful male and female qualities. That's why we're just that much more off balance. When we move on here, we can look at the larger picture on planet Earth today in graphic 16. China says its South Sea claims are indisputable. So we're biting off more than we can chew. Is it an accident or is it by design? So we're up in China's grill, if you will, speaking some people's language. They're acting like they're gonna throw down, yo. Bad situation, some major Glock's gonna go off. You know, just magnify this gangbanger mentality. And they got the Chinese also, they're grooming them to hate us more and more and to be blamed for all, they don't have jobs. Well, there's the military for them. And of course, there's a lot of anti-American propaganda popping up in China because the United States military is doing some insane things, getting up in their waters. Oh, but it's because of North Korea. Well, who sunk the ship? It's inconclusive. The United States, they were only, and the British and the Australians, Canadians, they ran the investigation just like, we had a 9/11 commission. And they really got to the bottom of those facts. China and Russia, they were excluded from the investigation into what sunk that ship that killed 46 people. The torpedo was made with German parts. And of course, we know Kim Jong-il was given weapons by Donald Rumsfeld. We all know about the famous handshake between Rumsfeld and Saddam Hussein that was given the couple weapons that he used against the Iranians in the 1980s. Similar circumstances. So if something goes down in terms of World War III, you better be aware of this international military-industrial complex weapons trade. Can your brain control your microwave? Welcome to the machine, graphic 15. Oh, God. Well, our brains are being microwaved by these cell phones. This is just another little source footnote, if you will, on the merging of man and machine. So imbalance between men and women. Absolutely. UPI.com. 2/3 of women report sex problems, inabilities to have orgasms. Graphic number 36. It's not just females, but males, and also the development of young children, development of testicles, and of course development of breasts in women at a young age. It's happening more and more, younger and younger.
Right.
And so we are seeing some issues here, and we're not